All right, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me tonight. Super pumped to have the gentleman on from cigarclub.com again. This is just a little bit of something I just always want to introduce and continue to have a little bit of cigar content and everything on the channel, because it's, in addition to bourbon and all that, it's another thing that I really enjoy. And cigars and bourbon, as a lot of you all are very aware of, is it's a great pairing. It allows you to slow down, take a little bit of time, do all those things. So yeah, before I bring on the other three guys, we'll start out first with Dave here in a minute, and I'll have him go through, if you guys are interested in everything, about cigarclub.com. I'll say this right away. I mean, it's a fantastic, group of guys. They're passionate, all of that. And, what they have going on and what they try to do for all of us as, consumers, it's second to none. So before I do that, let me say hi to a few guys that were in the chat right away. So first up, we had Steve Dameron, fellow FA4 guy. Steve, how's it going, bud? Cheech, Will Henderson. Who else we got here? Justin Lawler. Justin, how's it going, buddy? Let's see what else we got there. Griff, no idea who that guy is. David Babcock, how's it going, David? Brian Yanis, what's up, Brian? How's it going? Aiden Craig. Chris, how's it going? Matt Junick. Chris David, how's it going, buddy? Adriana, Whiskey Mountains, fellow whiskey tuber. Cam Lochner. My buddy Brazier, how's it going? Another fantastic guy, knows a lot about his cigars, bourbon. All right, I think I might have hit everybody right now. Who else we got? Dave Friedman, how's it going? And all right, so without further ado, I'm going to bring on Dave right now. We'll talk a little cigarclub.com. We'll drop a couple links. Let me drop this in here. Oh, you guys already see that. So tonight, any super chats will be applied. We'll talk a little bit about the giveaway and everything, some good stuff tonight that they'll be giving away. So without further ado, let me bring on the party starter here, and Mr. Imber. How's it going, sir?
Yo, Scotty.
There he is. Look at it. Fresh crack right on the old
Fresh
Buffalo
crack.
Trace. Perfect timing on that one right there.
I'm in this new craze where I'm just trying to buy every single BT pick I find, or Griff finds. Thank you, Griff, for finding this. I just like them. $30.
Yeah. Hey,
and they're fun to taste all the different ones.
Absolutely nothing wrong with those. I mean, they're a good everyday, sipping bourbon. You can't go wrong with them. Generally speaking, it's, what you're going to get. The picks can be nice because they can be a slightly different, a little off profile, maybe a little more citrusy. So anyway, but thanks for coming on tonight. This was, we did one, was it, man, that was maybe over winter or something, I think, or maybe fall.
It was months ago. I was talking about it with Griff because that was his big debut into the world. Griff came on that show and we were hanging out, drinking, smoking. Yeah, that was a great time, but it's been too long. It's overdue.
It has.
And we're all really excited to just hang out for the night, talk cigars, talk pairings.
Yep. And
throw some shade. I see a lot of the FA4 fam in the chat. What's going on, boys and girls?
A lot of them in there. So I appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight. Yeah. So tonight will be fun. This will be casual. We'll get the other guys in here soon. But what I really want to try to do is kind of showcase, spotlight a little bit, and Dave will be able to go through this a little bit better in terms of what they've got going on. But from my perspective, the one thing that was really attractive to me was just the passion that you guys had behind everything. You could feel it, you could see it, all of that. And I think it's really resonated a lot with a lot of people within the cigar, community. And for you guys to be interactive with everyone, this is kind of what I think needs to be happening. And you guys are A1 at that. So good job with that part of it.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, 2 years ago, I was just a consumer. A year and change ago, Griff was just a consumer. Pugh, I don't know, 3 months ago, he was a consumer. And it's keeping that mentality and that mindset of what were all the things that we longed for and that we really, really wanted to see more of. And it was the transparency. It was being able to communicate with the people and see what happens at a factory, see how a cigar is made, see how, a bunch of gringos can partner with incredible brands like Rodriguez Cigars, for example, or HVC Cigars, and make really cool cigars together. So transparency and building that community is, to me, the like number one thing that we will always focus on and always try and build. And that's why it's like, I love looking at this chat and seeing Hendo and Larry Goldstein and Eric Bustos and all these guys, Melinda in here. This is what it's all about.
Yeah, it really is. And I think, fortunately you guys understand that, you're younger, you guys are used to this kind of stuff. And it's important because, I think if
Scott, you're a young guy too.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. So, if you take the old guard from the whiskey side of things,
yes.
Okay, like there's still a lag where they're not, even the marketing people aren't overly interested in doing this kind of stuff. And I think they're missing the mark a lot.
Right.
So by you guys being out and interacting and doing these things and having your own show, all of these, it can only bring you guys bigger and better things. So, I really appreciate what you guys, do, and hopefully everybody else does. So I'll drop a couple links in the chat in a little while to give you guys some discounts. And I've got some stuff already linked in the description below where if you guys want to find some things. But why don't we do this? Why don't you share a little bit more about kind of how Cigar Club kind of came about, and let's kind of start there a little bit.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the fam is in the house, so you guys know this, and I won't take up too much time, I promise. But we're really excited because a month ago we released this whole new rebrand with Cigar Club that you guys have seen, the new boxes, the new packaging, the new logos, and the website, and all these things. Mm-hmm. That has been a culmination of the past, call it a year and a half of us really fine-tuning what we're all about. And our focus will always remain curated cigars shipped right to your door that our team is hand-picking every single month, that we're looking at the feedback our members leave and the reviews they leave and being able to share better and better cigars or new brands or old brands that you walk by because you're like, I only smoke boutiques, but maybe you're missing out on some classics or vice versa. So we use Cigar Club, the classic subscription, to achieve and do all of that. And that is one of those just really fun pieces. And then, of course, we launched recently Cigar Club Customs, which feels like my little child, where for some reason, a bunch of really great cigar blenders said yes to this random white guy that wanted to make cigars and invited me to different factories and sent me tobacco and blends, and have able to dig my paws into the art of blending cigars. So we're releasing with that subscription every other month a brand new Cigar Club Customs release. We're going to be doing that indefinitely. So literally I've shifted from like smoking tons of brands to like just smoking tons of samples because we're trying to release a cigar every other month, which is madness. But luckily we, as a team, can create panels to smoke through a lot of cigars. But anyway, this month we're dropping Macasso made at Aganorsa, and I am beyond pumped.
Me too.
And then lastly, I think you're smoking it, Scott.
I am.
We, Griff, out of the kindness of his heart, stickered our remaining like 65 packs that we had that we didn't sticker, so they weren't in inventory, but we still have them. So we just stickered them yesterday, and they're back online. They're back for sale. And so you guys can get these. They'll be back hopefully in 2022. But the first run, there'll only be one. Use Scott's code and get yourself some free shipping. But those are back in stock. And that project is almost like one of those things that's like emotional to think about. As my first trip to a factory. I made it alongside of Danny a year and a half ago, and we just put it to bed and brought it out for everybody. And really proud our whole team is of that cigar.
It is. I'll tell you what. So tonight was the first time I smoked one of these so far, and just from initial light up, it was buttery, spicy, woody, nutty, chocolatey.
It's a roller coaster.
It's very good, and that's the thing. As you start to get to that first third, this is when it'll start to probably really shine. So I'm super pumped to see kind of how this is pairing, and I'm just a FYI. So I'm going to pair it with this right here. So we'll go.
Nice plug with the autograph on that one, Scott.
I purchased it like that actually. So
yeah, I think when you get into second, third, you'll get the like cinnamon chocolate coffee cake, which is
It was
Just to
it was
note that
it was
it's
before
crazy.
we went live. It was one of the things I mentioned to Griff was that nice cinnamon note that was there, and it's just so far it's an incredible stick. So let me put it in. So this will be for the customs here. So you guys can use.
We got 2 different codes for the My Bourbon Journey fam.
Yep.
This first one, which is I think the one you're pulling up, Scott, is My Bourbon Journey 20.
Yep.
That one gets you 20% off of customs. We had to do 2 different codes for some back end reasons. And then if you just use My Bourbon Journey, it gets you a discount on everything else on the store, either free shipping or 30% off the subscription. But if you guys haven't checked out customs and you like trying new stuff, it's just a really cool new program we're offering that.
I think for me, it's probably, in addition to what you guys have going on, my favorite thing, because I like the fact, it's pretty cool stuff. I like the fact that you go to these different, factories, you work with these different, again, factories, rollers to do all of these different things. And it's something different and in high quality. That's the best part of these aren't like $4 sticks you're just trying to pawn off onto people or whatever. I mean, This is, it's all quality stuff. You guys are going to get, these are a 5-pack of this was what, 45 or $50?
$50. Yep.
I mean, it's a hell of a deal. $10 for this stick. And you've said this a million times, how this thing right here is $10 is beyond me.
And then you add to the fact that it sat for 14 months in Nicaragua, and which is taking up shelf space in an aging room, which costs more money. Now we had to pay more for that cigar. And 300 hands touched that cigar. I was there when they sorted the wrapper for this cigar. I was there when we picked the primings and moved all the bundles of tobacco through the warehouse. And it's like, what? How is this?
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway,
that's always been
support those smaller brands, support the big brands, just people making great stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It truly is amazing when you see that process firsthand. Go ahead, Scott. Sorry.
And this is where to me, the craftsmanship and the understanding of what goes into, making this thing from seed to smoke, basically. It's amazing how this thing right here can be $10. And it's the cool part about this is how it relates a little bit to the bourbon world or whiskey world, is that stuff sits in a barrel for God only knows how long and does nothing. Same thing with tobacco. A lot of times it sits and, ferments and does all that.
Doesn't make money.
No, it doesn't make any money. It's crazy. But, I do have in the link below the description below, there'll be links and all this. I'll make sure to put all this stuff in. So if you guys have any interest in checking them out, it's kind of a no-brainer with these discount codes. You're getting an awful lot for, whatever. It ends up being with the code, what is that? $10 off, $40.
Yeah.
For something like this. And same thing with like just a regular subscription. I've got all that down there too. So
super chats coming in, baby, which we're giving stuff away too today.
Yeah, so we're doing a bunch of. There's the Bellow coming in hot with $10. I appreciate it,
Lord Dustin Bellow.
He needs more. He needs more cigarclub.com stuff, doesn't he?
He does. I know he doesn't win enough.
No,
but we're giving away the Rodriguez 5-pack, which is back in stock for a limited time, and we're giving away a 5-pack mystery sampler that Sir Griffith is going to put together.
Griff,
for you guys.
We'll have to bring Griff back in here pretty soon. Maybe in the next 45 minutes we'll bring Griff.
Keep him in timeout, Scott.
Yeah,
I've heard enough of him today.
Yeah, enough of that guy. Look at this guy. No, so that's cool in itself. I think right there. And what we'll do is, so if we're going to do 3, all the super chats, we'll just roll off to 3 people rather than all of it go to one person. We want more people to be exposed to this stuff, so we'll do 3. So. Adriana, if you don't mind, if you're going to be in here tonight, if you can just keep track of the super chats, I would greatly appreciate it. Then that way we can run a little randomizer or something at the end and figure out who will win. So I appreciate that. So, Amazing. All right. Anything else we want to touch on real quick at all?
No, you guys know the drill. You know the story. We're super excited to be here, and it's going to be a good night. Let's bring you guys boys in.
Definitely go and check them out. These guys they're first class. When I say first class, these guys, Griff kind of falls down again. He and I bust each other's balls a little bit, but it's all in good fun. So if I told him the other day, I'm like, if we're not busting balls, then there's something wrong. So
yeah, Griff is our ringleader in that area. Speaking of, I see Will Hendo wants to do another blind flight with FA4. That one can end pretty for Griffith the first time.
I appreciate it. So Hendo came in big. Let's see, Alex, thank you so much. I appreciate that, brother. Thanks. Says I know it's Canada, Scott, but it's like we're all young at heart, except I'm short and chunky too. Hey, Alex, no judging, okay. Just enjoy a good stick and a whiskey, and you're good to go. So thanks, brother. This guy here, oh boy, it's in trouble right here. My guys, what's up? Might need to do another blind soon. I think anybody's good with that. He's the blind master right there, Mr. Hendo. Dave Friedman. Thanks, brother. Cheers and smoke rings to that channel. Appreciate it. What we got here?
I'm breaking out the good stuff for the stream, dude.
This might be, I don't know. This might be your boy right here, Dave. Mark Carter. This might be.
No, that's Melinda. Melinda Carter.
That's Melinda. Okay, I saw Carter. I saw Mark Carter on there, or M Carter. I thought all of a sudden that the Carters were showing up or something.
That is the magnificent Melinda.
All right, Melinda. I apologize for that. Thank you so much. FA4. Yeah, so it's FA4 on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So,
yeah.
Thanks,
Griff. Look at Griff.
How is Dave?
He's going to be expensing that shit, Scott. I hope you know.
What's that?
He's going to be expensing that $1 super chat.
I got to get to. I'm too busy reading all the other good ones. I got to get to him. All right, here. What do we got? Will, thanks, buddy. I greatly appreciate that. Actually, there we go. It showed up. What a great theme for a live stream. Yeah, I mean, this is part of it. I mean, this for me is the important part about cigars and whiskey. It brings us together like this. Totally. It slows everything down, allows you to, think of something else, whatever it may be. And if we can be an hour of your entertainment on a Tuesday night when no one's got anything else going, perfect. So, I love Roy's name. Roy R does things. I love that. It's just very open-ended. So thanks, Roy.
Roy.
Griff. Oh yeah, this will be $1. So by the time I actually will, with all the fees and everything, I think
you might owe them money.
Jeez, look at this guy.
You're gonna owe YouTube money for that one.
Is this? This is one I feel like I should just have to leave up all night long. A $1 super chat on an expense report. So after YouTube takes all my money, I expect it to not be a $1 super chat. It'll be 66 cents he's going to be turning in. So I guess thanks, Griff. I don't know. Am I supposed to say thanks for the super chat? But
Bob
he's
Moore
not gonna. He's not winning everything. And here you go. No. There's another one. And I owe Mr. Whiskey Shits. I already owe him a sample of. What the hell do I owe him? I got to go back to the email. I've been so busy with work lately, I can't even keep up. But all right, everyone, let me plow through here. All right, let's bring in the other jabronis here and
Sticky Biz. What's going on, buddy? All
right, here we go. Pop them, don't watch them. YouTube channel. Go check them out for sure. All right, here's one. Look at this guy.
What's going on, G?
What's going on, guys?
Just going on,
Producer Pugh. How's it going, bud?
What's going on, everyone?
I don't even know how to say his name when it doesn't say Producer Pugh there on there.
I didn't know how to come in, so we left it up.
I had to break out my church clothes for this live stream.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw you had your before. The camera angle isn't the greatest, but Griff does have his tight white shorts on, like old school tennis shorts.
Come down a little bit. There it is.
I'd love to see it. Yeah.
Jesus. All right.
Look at Justin Lawler.
We won't expose anybody to that anymore. Let's get rid of that guy. We'll bring him back. We'll bring him back. So, all right. So David mentioned before, Griff, what do you got going on? I know you were up late the other night putting stickers all over things. What else you got going on?
I was stickering like a maniac last night for Familia, which was launched again this morning. Dave miscounted the first time, so we sold out, but we didn't sell out.
Yeah, that's hard.
Which was exciting. Yeah. Scott, you're smoking it.
Everyone thought we were just being like,
yes.
Yeah. We really did think we sold out, but we didn't. So
we didn't. We found
they weren't in inventory correctly, so one of us was wrong. But
that's right.
That's okay.
But it's been my go-to stick. I love it. Triple Ajero's killer. Rodriguez, a year plus aging. It's phenomenal.
That's the best part.
With Nassif and Magnus Cigar Blend.
There you go.
Dude,
So
I think cigar buns can be great.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh yeah, I think any kind of finished. I think, well, maybe not any, but to have a finish on like the cigar club. Jesus, the I've got Cigar Club on my mind. I can't even remember the name of the bourbon, for crying out loud.
That's okay.
It's okay. Happens to the best of us.
Once we get into the whiskey making business, then you can just call it Cigar Club.
It's well, hey, there you go. You could have your own label. I know you've done some picks and everything, but all right, Pugh, what do you got going on? What are you smoking and what are you sipping on?
I'm smoking the Accomplice Classico White Label Lancero, and then
Nice.
I opened up. I believe this is a 2018 Alabama Beverage Control 107 store pick. So
it's crazy they even do picks.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, no, they do picks. They have like a lottery day in November, and that's when they'll release most of their store picks, and it's once a year. So
well, and Georgia's a hotbed for
that's where I go to find any type of store picks. Is I'll go across state lines.
Yeah. Well, they want all that. Yeah, because you're in Alabama, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm about 30, not even, maybe 20 minutes from the Georgia line. So it's not too far from being able to go actually get some store picks. And we make regular trips just to go bourbon hunting. So it's not a bad thing.
No. Well, that's nice. Well, and everybody wants to get into Georgia, Texas, all of those places. And, Georgia for the longest time there, they were just a hotbed. Everybody wanted to get in there. It just became one of those states where they wanted to introduce all their whiskeys and stuff too. So, all right, I got to relight my beer.
Talking shit.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse with Alabama, because if you're going to a controlled store, you're not going to overpay, but you're limited to what they offer.
Yeah. We have a fair share of picks in this area. I mean, it's hit or miss like everywhere, but it seems like we've got a plethora of BT picks. I think we're up to 4 or 5 now between Dave and I, which for $29 is great just to have on the shelf and break out whenever I do a blind flight. But say again.
Have you had the new one, the Cost Liquors?
No, it's in there. I hadn't opened it yet.
It is going to compete with Chasers for me.
Cost Liquors I have. I hadn't had yours, the HM whatever.
HLT is good, but the Cost Liquors might be at the very top. It's amazing.
Oh, cool.
Also, shout out to Bob Moore.
Yes, sir.
Bobby Moore.
How's it going?
He's probably driving around in his Ford at 1955.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of came in hot the other day with that one. So,
or 65.
So, right. Sure. So let me ask you this. So when you guys, when you kind of have your go-to or whatever you're looking to try to pair a great cigar with a good bourbon, what is it that you're looking for? Like, what is your palate kind of prefer? What do you kind of lean to?
I normally go for complement, like almost contradictory. Like if I have a really spicy, and I think we all do these differently, which is why this is going to be really interesting. But I like, if I have a spicy, really full-bodied cigar, I like a sweeter bourbon. Like I would go more on the wheated side of a bourbon. And then if I've got a really, although I should say when I got a really light and delicate cigar, I also go pretty low proof. But to me, I sometimes like when opposites attract. Can we talk about non-bourbon?
Yeah, absolutely.
I even love
it's just Scott's channel.
Dark, oily Maduros with like a light, fruity, cold white wine. Like that's the weirdest thing ever. But I really enjoy it. It's almost like a palate refresher, and you get different elements of the really dark, oily cigar that you might not get if you're going heavy and heavy.
Yeah.
But there's also a Scotch called Bren. Have you heard of them? Bren single malt, and they do all their stuff in French oak barrels, and their Scotch is light and fruit, blueberries, raspberries, almost like a Chardonnay in a way. And that with really heavy cigars is one of my all-time favorite pairings. So sometimes opposites, sometimes complements. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that is that you mentioned that's opposites attract right there. So
I don't know if I necessarily have a go-to. I mean, tonight I'm more of a full bite stick, more higher proof bourbon, but I think my famous go-to is a Natty Light and a Maduro.
Hell yeah, boy.
Nick and Natty.
Which paired phenomenal. Nick and Natty, the LH Nick with the Natty Light. So it's all over the board for me. I think it all depends on the weather and, if I want to get a quicker buzz or if I want to drink more bourbon for a longer time.
Chris more about the art of flavor than anything else.
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah, you have to have you have to have those like different times. Like there's like times when you're like mowing or you're boating or whatever it may be. Those different circumstances call for different things. That's for sure. So
100%.
Exactly.
But how's your Buffalo Trace there pairing?
I think Pugh is the palate prince of this one. He's got all kinds of concoctions in his portfolio.
Damn Emerald over here, Lagasse in the kitchen.
I mean, hey, at the end of the day, if you're enjoying a good cigar and you've got a good whiskey or whatever the hell it is, I mean, it really doesn't matter if you can kind of slow things down and take your time. I mean, you can get through just about anything. So, I mean, I don't know, but
yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's fun experimenting for me. Usually I try to go for balance. So if a cigar goes too far in one direction, I may try to grab something that pulls it back a little bit just to hit that more sweet spot. Or if there's like a note in a cigar or even a note in a bourbon or a whiskey that I like, I'll try to accompany a cigar with that to get more of that note. So if there's a really nice cedar note or a cinnamon note, if it's cinnamon, maybe I'll go for like a rye whiskey to pull out more of that. Or if it's cedar, maybe an older bourbon. Toasted Barrel has been really good with that right there to pull out some of those more woody notes that I'll get in a cigar. So it really depends on the cigar. There's very few bad pairings in my opinion. But you could certainly go like if you had too high of a proof of a bourbon, you could probably kill a mild cigar and just completely mute it.
And that's a good point because I mean I think a lot of times when you get into these super high proofs, me personally, I don't think they pair very well. Like even with a full body cigar, a lot of the times, only because the whiskey can be so dominant that for me it can make the cigar a little off-putting. Like you're really battling, you're fighting the two, and for me that's never a good thing. Like I never want to get into like that kind of battle at all like that. So Jesus,
Tommy D, what the hell? We haven't seen Tommy D in so long, and now he just comes in swinging at Griff.
I didn't even know he was alive.
Tommy D, where have you been, brother? Dude, he's coming in hot and heavy, old babyface Griff.
I think it's a great point. I think it was it was Joseph. He literally, before the stream started or when Dave was talking and no one was listening, I can't remember exactly what he was smoking and drinking, but it just didn't match. And I was like, it happens to the best of us. It sucks when you're breaking out a nice cigar and either a nicer bourbon or something you haven't paired with, and it just does not go well with each other.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how you learn, and it just happens.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, I mean, I thought if you could introduce like a high proof bourbon with a full body cigar, you think like, well, maybe both of them will match up real well. And for me, it just doesn't work very well. So, I mean, I think it just becomes one or the other becomes too dominant, and I never want one to outshine the other for the most part. Like Pugh said before, when you can get that nice balance and you're not thinking about it, like you're not, it just is working. That's the best case scenario right there. And you're just, everything complements each other, so.
And there is something nice about smoking a cigar and when you're drinking bourbon, it almost, no matter what the pairing is, you lose a lot of that front astringency or any of that. And you get a lot more of the sweetness, a lot more of those deeper notes in any bourbon you're drinking when you're smoking with it, whatever it does to your palate. And that part I also really enjoy.
Yeah. I would agree. Ooh. And that's kind of where I think a lot of the cigar pairings, there you go, those pairings start to shine when you get that, where they complement it and you're not having to think like, oh, the cigar is, either too powerful, not enough, too mild, whatever it is. But, and like you guys, like I forget who said it, but with the finished bourbons, I found that a lot of them, like the Cigar Blend or the Bardstown, the Discovery Series, a lot of these finished bourbons really do well with a nice medium full body cigar. Like period.
Totally agree.
Absolutely.
They just kind of match up real well with the spice and wood characteristics of a good cigar, and then you kind of mix in that sweetness of the bourbon. They both complement each other really well. But what is Will saying here? Oh no, that's not it. That's a problem when you like click on these things and they scroll past you real quick. But all right,
you just exposed me.
Yeah.
getting mad at Tommy.
Yeah, the toasted barrel stuff, like, so for me, man, they can be real hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah.
And
100% agree with you, Scott.
a lot of times my experience with like a cigar and a toasted barrel is that if you it really depends, because if you have a fresh crack on a toasted barrel, you could have a complete different experience 2 weeks later, a month later, whatever it may be, and it'll be completely different. So
Yeah, I think Griff had a difficulty pairing toasted barrel with the cigar. I
Yeah,
forget what cigar it was.
toasted barrel and Mel Diaz.
Griffin
was
difficulty?
not good. I don't know Mike Hunt, but I like his comment.
I'm dying over here. I was hoping you saw it.
I don't know
Who?
Mike Hunt.
What are you saying? I can't.
yeah, Mike, it's a let's like we
Mike
got that one.
Hunt.
Let's slow that one down. That is Mike Hunt.
What did I say?
Not
I
a
think you said
compliment. Oh
It
my
was just very quick. You kind of said it pretty quick there, trying to be a smart ass, I think, again, but
Oh man.
Wait,
not a compliment.
Love you too, Mike.
wait. Did his no? Don't remove it.
Yeah, that.
Oh, sorry,
stays
let me
up
go
on the
back.
stream.
I thought my $1 super chat was going to stay up all night.
Yeah.
It was
Somebody
embarrassing.
deleted this thing. Mike, Mike, you're in timeout.
Oh gosh,
You
the mods,
mess,
the
you
mods
mess
were
with
on
Griff,
him.
you get the horns.
The mods were
Yeah.
on him.
Yeah, the mods will have to take care of business. That's for sure.
I didn't do
So,
it. I didn't do it, Mike.
Mike, you're
Yeah.
allowed to come back in and apologize. Or
All
we
right,
can
so-
just agree with
No
you.
All right,
worries. No worries.
so Dave mentioned before, Griff, you were working on something a little bit special. What was that you were mentioning before? I think it was either a blend or something, or what was it that you had mentioned that Griff was that he was working on? What was that?
Oh, Griff's been in factories the past couple weeks. No, I'm kidding. No, I was just saying Griff's been stickering the.
This is how it
5-pack.
happens, Scott. Scott, Dave gets all these projects in line, and he's traveling and he's blending, and then they land in Pensacola, where I live, and these are when the 8,000 Rodriguez landed. Can you sticker them for us? And I'm like, I have no choice. So last night for 2 hours in my office, it was not bad. I was drinking and stickering the 5-packs, but this is how it all happens.
I think he was just trying to showcase your talents, is what that probably was a little bit. He said that you were like
He's got a great attention to detail.
the master sticker guy. So, but
Wags, I actually packed your box yesterday, and I actually dropped a little note in there, not to surprise you, but
Spoiler alert.
like a love letter,
little love note to him. No worries, it's between me and him. So
I didn't hear.
he'll see it when he opens his box.
Nice. Yeah, we.
I feel like there's a lot of tension coming my way for whatever reason.
No, dude,
It
I
was
feel like
expected.
we need to bring this down. Griff is. Well, I think it was Michael Hunt. He started us off on the wrong foot here, but let's bring it back,
Hey,
folks.
no worries.
Yeah.
How about some love for Team Griff?
There's all.
I mean, he
Always
was over
super chat.
damn stick last night.
I think there's always love for Team Griff, because when people want to bust your balls, that means they like you. You know.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
why
why
you say it's
he
not a
gives out.
compliment.
Griff must freaking love me then.
that's what,
All
right, so-
Scott, I find myself, I have to think through every sentence I say before I'm anywhere near Griff. If you're on a call
100% true statement.
and you're going to open your mouth, you better shut up. Think about what you're going to say. Think about how it can be used against you in the court of Griff. You better look around your room, make sure there's nothing exposing you, and then deliver it, or you're done. You're done. People cry
You
on
better
our
be
calls all the
perfect
time.
every time.
that's okay.
You just
Justin
always have to have
Lawler.
one in the chamber. You always have to have a rebuttal in the chamber. You always got to be loaded, because you never know
Yeah.
what's going to come your way.
All right,
And
we're gonna switch
Busto
up.
said it best right there. People love Griff because he can take it better. He sure can take it.
All right. See now.
I don't know. He gets upset
No, he
when
can
it comes
take it.
his way. So.
He loves taking
Yeah.
it.
He loves taking it.
Oh
Well.
my God.
He's the king. Take it.
All right, so
Also-
let's talk a little bit. So we've been talking about some pairings and stuff, but let's talk about some of the cigar factories and the people that you guys are able to meet and kind of showcase a little bit of that you guys have and the relationships that you've built. I mean, I think that stuff's important for people to understand what it is you're kind of doing behind the scenes. We get to enjoy these things, but as much as we all think it's not work that you guys do, I mean, it really is. I mean, you're doing an awful lot to bring us these quality cigars. So.
Yeah, we me and Griff laughed about this. Like, I don't know, maybe whenever me and Griff were in Miami 2 months ago, maybe, and it's like really, don't get me wrong. Do not misquote anything here. This is the best job in the world. It's the most fun I've ever had working. And we do what we love every single day, all three of us on the screen. But at the end of the day, traveling to these different places, and you're in the factory at 7, you're out of the factory at 5, and then you don't stop until about 2 or 3 a.m. And it's over and over and over, and you're learning and you're processing a lot of information. And so there is a lot of work to it. But I remember Griff used to always bust my balls when I go on some of these trips, and I'm sure you're so tired. You've been smoking and drinking whiskey all day. And then he went to Miami, and we got to experience Alec Bradley headquarters, which you better be primed and trained and ready to go before you step in there. I'm like, I'm not even smoking tonight because I go to Miami on Friday and to do some blending and some new projects at Bello, the factory down there. And I like to prep, give it a few days before I go, not smoking anything, just to kind of clear the palate, just know that the big stuff's about to start happening, and it's just better that way. But no, I think it's funny to look at it from two different angles. At the end of the day, it's a lot of fun, but it still is just a lot of work, a lot of time. And there's these brands that are willing to give us that time that I think makes it super worth it. And then when we release stuff, when people actually care about it, or they care enough to give feedback, good or bad, and they reach out to us, it is the best ever. But all three of us were in New Orleans Cigar Factory last month. And so we were in their Pilone room, their aging room. We were in the front with their rollers who work on a couple different blends for the company. And so I think that was a lot of fun. This was the first time our whole team was at a factory together. So I wasn't the only white guy in the room and that could speak Spanish. I don't know. It was awesome. But Pugh and Griff, we both got to see a lot about, I'll let them jump in here, but we got to see a lot of Oliva Tobacco and what they're doing at Noxa and their material that they have that New Orleans Cigar Factories using. But yeah,
it was awesome.
That'll get us started.
I had been there as a consumer before. Speaking of New Orleans Cigar Factory, I had been there 2018, I think, just walking in down New Orleans, leaving for a cruise, and I remember telling Dave hey, these sticks are awesome, and then be able to go there and get behind the scenes of things and see, like Dave said, their Pilone room and meet the owners and see the rollers. Incredible experience to finally get that step behind the curtain, or my first step behind the curtain.
Well, to kind of spin off of what oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just trying to recall our time at Alec Bradley Studios. You open the door and you kind of walk into this fog room. They say they have these air purifiers and all this fancy stuff, but you're kind of wafting your way through the hallways. And I swear my backpack still not reeks, but smells of Alec Bradley Studios. So it's a fun time.
It's I still think the time when you guys were sharing margaritas, where you guys were interlocking arms and stuff, that was pretty epic.
I forgot we texted you that picture that night. Yeah, we got into some
when was
Don
that?
Julio 42.
Oh shit! Yeah,
and that's when you guys were I think you were in New Orleans or something, right?
Yeah, it was in Cincinnati. No, it was in
Sin City.
The New Orleans was the big thing of. What was your drink, Dave?
Antifreeze.
Antifreeze, and I had the big thing of Hurricane, and it was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Any consideration to kind of putting together a cigar club family or cigarclub.com kind of trip when all this stuff kind of loosens up a little bit more?
Man, we were talking about doing a cigar club meetup, hopefully in 2021 in potentially Atlanta. That's on the table. Doing one at a factory, I should rephrase, because to do one at a small factory like Bello in Miami, that's on the table. To do one at a factory in Nicaragua or the Dominican, we're probably not there yet, but those factories are about to start hosting people. But there's just so much that has to go into that, and transportation and security and all these different elements that have to be with you the whole time. And I think that I'm like a liability when I go down there. They're like, oh God, this guy, no idea where he is, can't communicate with anybody. It's clueless. And Griff, I picture Sebastian Maniscalco just looking at me like this, clueless.
Yeah,
I'm here. I'm right here. And but I think it'd be amazing to do a Cigar Club family meetup in Atlanta or somewhere else. Dustin, I have been drinking a ton of Mama Juana. That was, if you guys have seen I think Hello just posted it. We did Imperfect Pairings in the Dominican at La
Yeah,
Aurora Cigar Factory, and we
That was a
drank
great
Mama
beer.
Juana and did a pairing with that and some new blends we're working on. That was awesome. Have you had that, Scott?
That stuff is when we were in the Dominican, I don't know,
Not good.
several years ago, we had some of it. At the time, it was like they brought this like just random jar of like this dark looking
Wood
stuff.
chips.
I'm like,
With freaking.
I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna ever get back on a plane again. Like
Ugh,
I could just die
done.
from this stuff. I mean, I was
You're
a
done.
little concerned with this stuff, but it was surprisingly, it was pretty damn good, to be honest.
I didn't like it. I was introduced to Mama Juana on our honeymoon, which they call it the baby maker. Go figure. But we were at this resort and we're all sitting in this hot tub, and of course it's all inclusive, so the shots never stopped coming, and they were just shots of Mama Juana, and it was
You gotta be careful, dude.
quite interesting. Wood chips everywhere. It was like a damn wood scene over here.
It's
Truly
It was not good. I did
Truly
not
a
like it.
scene.
that's
Truly.
the thing is some of them can be very like
This was the cheap version, I think.
like some of them can be very like
Yeah.
rooty, like very like root oriented. It's
Yeah,
it
it was dirt. It was liquid
Yeah.
dirt.
some of them can be kind of nasty. So
But yeah,
This one was really good.
Atlanta would be a great, at least
That would
for
be so
the
much
East
fun.
Coast folks. That would be a great spot. I think we should
Atlanta
definitely try
Airport
to
right there. So
It's
we'll
super
definitely fly in.
super easy to get in
find
to
a place,
there.
pack a suitcase of sticks, and have a good time.
And we
Yeah.
say this every now and then, but if you guys are ever in Miami, you can get a piece of Cigar Club. If you go to Bello, no matter if any of us are there or not, let them know you're a Cigar Club family. And we got our first run of our Cigar Club Customs Ocho sitting in the back, and they'll give you one of those cigars for free if you go stop by there. And then they'll give you a tour of the factory and all that, which is really exciting. So check them out if you're ever in Miami.
Can people come in and see you guys like in Cincy and stuff like that, or do you do anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple times when we found people that live up here who've reached out, and it's like, I mean, we got the rooftop that is where I smoke a lot of our cigars, or my front porch. So I know there's probably 20 or 30 guys in Cincinnati that are Cigar Club members.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty.
if you are, just email us or message us, and happy to host you guys over a cigar. We'll give you a discount on them. No, the cigars are on us forever. Present,
I mean,
so.
hell, talk about a meetup. I mean, really, all people got to do is get to Cincy. You could go sit up on that rooftop and just.
Yep.
I mean, that looked like a big enough area where you could have a hell of a time up there. So.
Oh God, we
Well,
could close it down.
Likewise, Pensacola. I don't know if you guys come down here, but we've got a great relationship with New Orleans Cigar Factory Pensacola Social
Yes.
Club, which is like 5 minutes from here, and it's a great place downtown, and would be great to hang out with you guys.
Pensacola, is that Idaho?
Yep, that's
Idaho's
right.
not a real
Northeast.
state.
That's what I
Northeast
thought.
Idaho.
Jeffrey Wack.
Scott's still
I think
giving me
Jeffrey
shit
Wack, the Cincy guy.
about saying Obtainium was from Idaho. So
Oh.
the initials look the same to me. Same place.
All right, what do we got here?
Can we ask, is Jeffrey Wack, are you a Cincy guy? Because if so, let's freaking throw it down.
I thought Jeff was in. I thought Illinois, but not far. I mean,
Where's
Jeff,
my
you're in
cunt? I'd like
Cincy.
to-
oh,
Where's my
maybe
cunt located?
maybe he is.
Jeff, if I see that order come through, dude, it's going down. You're Cigar Club family at that point, and it's cigars on the rooftop pronto.
Mike, let's meet up. I'll bring my whitey tighties and penny loafers, and it'll be a good time.
Oh.
With
That's
you
a sight,
saying
Griff.
with you saying it, it's not even like you're kind of kidding. It's kind of the truth, probably a little bit, right?
Yeah, no
Yeah.
worries.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to say it again. I mean, for me, that was the thing that kind of attracted me to Cigar Club, was just the fact that I could see you guys were like super passionate about everything that you did, and it made it easy to want to, kind of get behind that. And I think you guys are doing that better than anybody else who does anything similar, to what you do. I mean, you're out there with the people. You've got your, hey, you could talk about your YouTube, your FA4. So Fridays at 4, you guys have got, the
Cigar Club podcast, baby.
Yep, the Dave and Dave show. So if you want to tune into that, I think they'll bring in this Griff guy once in a while to kind of co-host a little bit. But no,
If he's been well behaved.
I mean, really, in all seriousness, I mean, I think a lot of people, if they start to kind of see this, because a lot of what we're doing right now, just kind of a little bit of banter and all that, is kind of what you guys are all about, but still maintaining the quality and the seriousness of what it is you guys do as a business. It's important. So why?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean that's just the fun part of this industry, right? Getting to meet these brand owners and work with great people like Pugh and Dave and Jeff, and enjoy what you do on a daily basis. I don't know. It's kind of cliche to say, you know, when you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. But I mean, it is kind of true. We really all enjoy what we do. You got to keep it lively. You got to make fun of each other. It's all out of love, and it's just a good time.
Yeah. What was it? So I don't know if we really touched upon it or not, but what was it that made you guys kind of want to start the whole, like, you know, cigarclub.com thing? What was it that, you know, got the wheels turning and all that, and said, I think we can make a run at this thing?
Some loser named Jeff Siders in Mobile, Alabama. CEO Jeff, our CEO and founder of cigarclub.com, he founded it back in 2016. And which seems like light years ago. The fact that it was like a domain available shows you it was a different time, even though it was only 5 years ago. But Jeff started this with this idea of getting rid of the pretension that, yeah, let's do it, Larry. Getting rid of the pretension that he found in like cigar shops, walking in them, and like,
yeah,
the older guys that would look at you weird if you picked up the wrong cigar, or not really trusting the tobacconist that might just be upselling you something that he has to clear out in order to make room for something else.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I wish there was an easier way to guarantee people could get cigars they love in the comfort of their home. So that's how he launched the algorithm that we designed back in 2016 that helps us identify cigars you'll like based on what you drink, what you eat, maybe what cigars you smoke. And that's where it all started, was a monthly subscription that catered cigars to you. That's still the core of our business. That's still why we do what we do. We've just now been able to build even better relationships than ever before. And I think this year we're going to end up releasing about 8 exclusive cigars. So almost every month a new exclusive. And then 6 times this year we're going to release a custom blend. And that it's just like mind blowing to think about that, to have a hand in that and share that with everybody. And that fires all of us up. I mean,
it's crazy.
I'm talking a lot, but that I know every one of us here gets fired up about.
Well, it's because it can be very intimidating. You know, I mean, all of us were at one point, you know, had no idea about what the hell we were going to smoke or whatever. And you go into like an older, like B&M or whatever it may be, brick and mortar, and you're staring at this walk-in humidor, and you don't have any idea where to even start, what to ask for. You know, and you know, you don't want to, like, probably just being guys or whatever, you know, you don't want to admit to, like, I don't know what the hell it is that I'm talking about. And that can be tough. And that's where I think what you guys are doing and being out there and letting people know what it's all about, I mean, is really comforting for a lot of people, because, you know, this gives people a chance to try things that they have no idea or may not be able to get, expose them to different brands, start to figure out what it is you enjoy. And at the same time getting quality, because, you know, some of these other, you know, businesses or whatever you want to call it, you know, they just pump out all these different things, and it's stuff that you can just go to a local place and there's nothing new and interesting about anything. But for what you guys have, I mean, it's, to me, second to none. I mean, I think you guys are doing a bang up job with that stuff. So
it's kind of crazy. You know, the initial thought of what started this company was the intimidation factor of the humidor. I mean, I've been in this industry now for, I don't know, a year and a half or so, and I'm still semi-intimidated when I walk into my store 15 minutes up the road. Yeah. And they say, what do you like and what you don't like? And it's almost like you kind of get this like interview stomach. I don't know what I like. I don't know what I don't like. You know, you just pick something random, right? So, you know, coming on to cigarclub.com, taking this personal taste profile quiz of letting us know what you like, what you hate, and giving us a great overview of your personal palate, and then us sending you cigars that we know you're going to love. It's like, it's just a no-brainer. Like, why the hell didn't I think of that? Just like, why didn't I think of the Scrunch Daddy or whatever that Sponge Daddy thing?
Scrub Daddy. God, I love the
Scrub Daddy. Like, we've got like 50 of them under the fridge or under the sink. I'm like, it's one of those thoughts that why didn't we think of it? So that's the cool part of it.
So the analogy is you guys are the Scrub Daddy of the cigar industry.
Hell yeah, boy.
Exactly. Okay. We have that slogan.
Get the website updated with that.
That is what we're doing, Scott.
But I mean, hey, that's important, because I mean, I think that part of it is, it takes away the being intimidated part of it. And now people are, you know, and here's the other thing. So, I mean, for what you guys do, I think is still slightly different, where you customize cigars to people's palates. So they're you don't just say, I want 5 of whatever it is, here's what you get. No matter, you have no choice. You guys customize it and you pay attention to this stuff. That's the good part. So if there's something somebody doesn't like, and you guys that are considering doing this, if there's something that doesn't fit your palate or you don't like that, you have the ability to rate it, tell them what you think, and they'll change some things for you and get you what you want. So
I think that's the cool part. Dave's kind of the patriarch curator, if you will, and then Pugh and I are kind of the validators, if you will. And going forward every month, we kind of as a team figure out, in a sense, what goes in what box, and who's going to like what, and this person's going to hate that or going to love that, and it's kind of a puzzle. And then hearing stories that customers were more on a mild to medium kind of journey, and then they're ready to experience more full-bodied sticks. Like I am too. I used to not be able to handle any type of full-bodied stick, but that's like all I smoke now, I feel.
It's like Magic Toast, Griff. Like we put that this month in boxes for people who are even on like the medium-bodied, mild plus side, that are probably going to look at the cigar and just freak out. And we're going to get some emails about it, and Pew's gearing up for it.
Yeah.
But that was a cigar that I refused to smoke for the longest time.
Yeah, me too.
And then I smoked it. I'm like, oh my God, it tastes like chocolate s'mores. Like, it's amazing. And then I was like, Griff, you have to try these. And Pew, I think you had it a couple times before, potentially, but it totally contradicts what you think of with a dark, oily Maduro that looks like it's supposed to kick you on your ass. But it doesn't. It's amazing. Yeah, it's great.
So
I think it also, like, back in the college days, I would smoke like
turn the light on,
super trash, full-bodied stick that was straight nicotine, and that's really not the case anymore. It's like aged nicotine, full-bodied flavor, extremely low nicotine. So, I mean, you get a little bit of buzz, sure, but I remember
the strength is
very distinctly that some would put me down in college, and that's kind of why I was a little bit nervous about the full-bodied smokes.
All it takes is one super full-bodied smoke with a ton of strength that you don't anticipate, and then you're like, oh, well, I'm not smoking full-body cigars for a while, and it's not. Full-body cigars aren't just all strength. There's so much more, and not all of them are going to be heavy.
Perfect point. Because a lot of people think full-bodied, and they think that's just going to blow them away, and that's not always the case. I mean, you have to understand a little bit of that. And again, this is just probably comes from trying different things and figuring out the analogy or what it is behind a certain cigar and why it's stronger than understanding the the blend that's there and all of that. So, and again, that can be a very intimidating thing, but so let me ask you this. So why and how is it that you guys come up with what it is you introduce in your like monthly boxes and things like that? If we go back to the subscription part of it, what is it about that you try to kind of formulate some things?
Yeah. And Pew has some great insight on this too, especially because he just started doing suggested pairings with every single cigar we ship. But it all comes from the same place where, like I said before, we're all cigar geeks. Like, we smoke cigars. We smoke boutique cigars. We hunt them down. We're still fascinated by again, like we talk about how a cigar is $10 landed. That's touched 300 hands and all these people in the ecosystem of them. But we have just sheets and a lot of spreadsheets that have all the cigars that we want to be putting in upcoming boxes. And then we get a lot of samples from different brands where they're sending us stuff or they have new stuff coming out and we're smoking them. And we're like, okay, cool. This would fit in with people who are in like our medium range. These are like our medium plusers. These are like our medium minus people. These are the people that only smoke Connecticut's, like put that in their box. And we're just constantly going through spreadsheets, like talking about them and just like you would with a bunch of guys. And to Joseph's points there, that's a great thing to note is you can have a full-bodied cigar that's not full strength, and you can have a full-strength cigar that is not full-bodied.
Yeah.
But anyway, Pew, I know you've been working on the pairing, so it's kind of interesting to hear your side of things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I wanted to do and got really everyone on board with it. And we kind of are, we've got our featured pairing of the month, but I also wanted to provide and it just the other sticks that we include. So perfect example, this one I'm smoking here, we said a wheated bourbon is going to go perfect with it, which is immediately why I grabbed the 107. I've had the 107 with it tonight, and I've had Elmer T. Lee, and the Elmer T. Lee is nowhere even close to how good of a pairing the 107 is with it. 107,
And that's
just
the Principal Lancero.
Yeah, the Principal Lancero, toasted marshmallow, a little bit of cedar to it, and the Elmer T. Lee just dissipated with it. The marshmallow wasn't there, so the wheated bourbon, that sweetness that it has, brought more of that toasted marshmallow out. And that's really what we're looking to do with those suggested pairings is, you know, I know when I started smoking cigars, I didn't know what to grab with it because I didn't know maybe enough about the cigar, especially if it's a new cigar for someone like, hey, we think this will go really well with this type of cigar. And so that's what we're doing, you know, if reaching out, you know, even if not just bourbon. We've got some that are coffee or wine or I imagine we'll have some gin on there because we have some gin drinkers or tequila
And cocktails
drinkers.
we started doing.
Cocktails too, yep. So there's definitely a couple that have like old fashioned on there or Manhattan or a Boulevardier, which is my favorite go-to drink. So it's just fun. To me, cigars and pairings is like a playground. So it's just an opportunity to have fun and try new things and get people to try new things as well.
Yeah, that really is the fun part of just figuring out what spirit you like and trying to figure out what cigar you like the best. And really at the end of the day, I mean, nothing is wrong. It's like probably, you know, it's like the same thing with people telling you that a certain bourbon's no good. Well, I mean, maybe it's no good to you or somebody else may like it or whatever. But, you know, going back to that point of pairing things, I think a lot of times, you know, when you start getting into even medium plus cigars, like, you know, 90 proof bourbons or whiskeys or whatever, just don't seem to hold up very well, you know, for me anyway. So that's just me. But
Jeffrey Wack, welcome to Cigar Club fam. Excited to have you.
Welcome.
Oh,
there you go.
So Jeff, I don't think
Love
you
to
ever
see it.
answered. Do you live in Cincy or are you like you come to Cincy a lot? Either way, please send me an email, david@cigarclub.com. I go out of town Thursday, come back like middle of next week, and we should totally meet up, grab a cigar.
Yeah, I think Jeff is in Ohio. I think he is in Ohio. I don't know if it's Cincy, but I know he's there. So, but
the Sin City.
That's awesome.
I mean, all right, let's see. Nano Bourbon, I'll pair a cigar with it. Yeah, the clock starts now. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion. And again, it kind of boils down to what spirit you like, what kind of style of cigar you like. I mean, it really, you know, and I guess that kind of goes back to how you guys.
Joseph.
What was it, Dave?
Yeah, that's
Midsummer Night Dram. That's what I wanted to pair a cigar with it.
That is my Christmas holiday pour. It's about the only time I pour it, and it just reminds me of Christmas.
Yeah, it's ginger, orange. It's
so good.
Yeah, I had my first one this year, and I will only pour it in December.
Yep.
A beetle just dive bombed into my bourbon.
It's done, dude. Go for it.
No
chance.
You seem to you definitely always seem to have the bug in your whiskey kind of theme going on a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this thing is screwed. Well, one landed in the Obtanium last week.
Thanks, Mike Stahl. Appreciate that.
Was that a cockroach in there or what was that?
It was like a massive beetle.
Oh.
I just heard it hit the side of the glass and broke its neck.
I mean, it's hard to believe we're already an hour in. Holy cow. Jesus.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody hanging out. And this is the fun part. It almost kind of becomes a little bit of a drinking and cigar lounge type of conversation because I mean, hey, at the end of the day, if you're at a lounge or wherever you are, you're just shooting the shit with your boys or girls or whatever the hell it may be. And that's the best part. You're forgetting all the other bullshit that you deal with throughout the day, and you get to kind of kick back and have a good time. So,
Scott, not to put you on the spot, but to put you on the spot, what are some of your favorite sticks you've had in the past?
Oh man, I'll tell you what.
Past couple of months.
I'll tell you what. Some of the stuff from Warped is really kind of. It was really something I wasn't really aware of until recently with what you guys kind of pumped. It was the same thing that applied to HVC.
Oh God, HVC
was kind of a newer brand to me at the time, and I didn't really know much about it, and I really started to enjoy that. And I would say something that I've really started to kind of lean towards a lot is just really appreciating what it is that Aganorsa does. Mm-hmm. Just I know you guys have got some stuff going on with them and things coming soon, but just what it is that they do. I mean, they are, and they're monsters, you know, I mean, in terms of what it is that they do, but the one thing, even though as big and everything that they do, they do not skimp on the quality of their tobacco. I'll tell you that.
No, it's so unique. Aganorsa is literally why the three of us are all into cigars, frankly. And whether it was through Warped or HVC or Foundation or Illusione, I mean, Jeremy Jack, the list goes on of the brands making cigars there. Their stuff tastes different. And when you've had old cigars in the past or classic brands and your Monte Cristos and Rockies, which are all great cigars, then you have Aganorsa tobacco. And you're like, something is different here because it's not just dark oily cigars to get you the flavor. They're medium, lighter shade cigars. They're more nuanced. You get fruit out of them, caramel, baking spices, the cinnamon, which is my favorite note in any cigar, just blasting your head off. And I love it. And I don't know, Aganorsa is awesome. That's what our customs coming out next week is. Made in Aganorsa. I can't wait for you to smoke that one, Scott.
I would say for me, like in the last probably, oh man, I don't know, month and a half or so, for me, it's just been one of those things that is just that profile of that tobacco fits really well with me. And like, I could pick up just about anything from what it is that they do and like immediately find something to pair it with. And like, it doesn't even, I just seem like I can reach on the shelf and it's going to be a good pairing. Like no matter what it is, you bring out all of those nuances. And again, that Aganorsa, you get a little bit of that. I guess I always like to describe it as a little bit of like a tropical, like there's a little bit of like a tropical fruit aspect to it.
It's interesting you say tropical, as that was
it is.
Previous Aganorsa name was Tropical Tobacco. That's really interesting.
That's their Miami headquarter warehouse is called Tropical Tobacco.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of went on a little bit of a run with like just like pounding away a lot of the HVC stuff, and then I started getting into a little bit of the Aganorsa stuff. I mean, and I like a lot of what, the EP does. I mean, that again is some fantastic stuff. I mean, what they're able to do, is crazy as well. So yeah, it is a
goose over there, Scott. Wow.
Yeah.
You get your 12 gauge out?
We've got a
back.
We have a marsh over here not far from us. So if anybody is interested in any duck hunting at all, we got that stuff going too.
That's
so
awesome.
Next 2 weeks, Griff, we launch our partnership with Ducks Unlimited, which is really exciting.
Are you serious?
Speaking of ducks, yeah.
Me? Yeah.
Are you? Oh, you are.
May 7th.
That's awesome. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, no, it's legit. That's legit.
I mean, really cool. I don't know how else you explain that, but we're going to be doing a cigar club, Ducks Unlimited kind of subscription that we're working with them on. We're making some cigars for the Ducks Unlimited family, and we're going to be at their trade shows and some different events they got coming up in Texas and New Orleans this year. And we're going to be giving 10% back of all the revenue and profit from anything we sell through the Ducks program back into Ducks Unlimited and all of their efforts in conservation throughout the South and really the whole U.S. So it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Fellow, my wife
we'll still shoot ducks, but we also want to preserve them.
For me, bird hunting is where I enjoy bird hunting the most. The sitting around like bird hunting, it always seems to be a little bit like specifically like pheasant. It's a little more interactive, and you're moving through some fields and all that. But like for me, like hunting deer, it's like sitting in a stand. It's like, man, this is fucking boring.
It's like fishing. I have zero patience for throwing a line and let's like get out of here. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's really never been my thing either. But what do we have? Yeah, because
Tommy D, appreciate you. We know where your priorities are watching the BJ.
Thanks, Tommy. I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Tommy D.
Yeah, somebody had asked before, like Bob asked, like honestly, if we go back to that a little bit, like mine actually started because I'm a big history fan, and I had a little bit of bourbon with my dad one night, and it just kind of down the rabbit hole I went with that whole deal. And it was like instantly wanted to know more about it. Like you guys with the cigars, you dive into it. You just want to know everything you can about it. And for me, like when I started the channel, it was really going to be a video diary of the things I was trying, because when I first started in honestly 2016, there was barely anybody doing this kind of stuff. And again, there wasn't all of there's guys that have great, B-roll and all that kind of stuff in there. I mean, that did not exist a handful of years ago. And, for me, it was just kind of chronicling my journey through bourbon and trying different things. And I would upload stuff just so that I had an area that I could keep something and keep track of stuff. And that's kind of how it really all started. And it was just down the rabbit hole. So, and I've always enjoyed cigars. Like, I mean, going back probably, 15 years ago for me, it probably started from the cigar side of things, just being in the Dominican Republic. And I had no idea of cigars. And we were there, my wife and I, and we were on a resort, and they brought these rollers in, and they rolled some nice cigars. And I didn't know the difference really between those and cigarettes. And I'm like, I'll give it a try. And it was like, holy Christ, this really, like, my first reaction was, this just allows me to even slow down more than I was already doing, and to kick back for a good hour plus and enjoy a good whiskey is it's just about perfect. So
I could not agree more.
Not to give Dave too many props, but I think he honestly is the guy that got me into cigars and bourbon. I would fetch him bourbon here in Pensacola and send it to him in Cincinnati.
You're more into it now than I am.
I think I might be, to be honest. And then he roped me into this job. I didn't have a choice but to take this job, so that was a pain. But my quote unquote bourbon journey, which I use your tagline quite a bit, Scott, which is a great name, really evolved like a year ago. And then it was heavy for the first like 4 or 5 months. I'd get like 2 or 3 bottles a week, which was kind of scary for a minute. But I don't know, like, the first 24 years at the time, or 25 years of my life, I was like, where the hell's bourbon been all my life?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, you just get hooked. You want to explore it and find new bourbons. And then you get into the bourbon community like we are now. And it's just badass.
Yeah. I think
Well, this is where these two kind of like really like cross paths is just both kind of promote the same type of thing. It's just like slow down and take some of your own time. I mean, there's no rushing this. If you want one of these sticks and you're trying to do it in 15 minutes, there's no point. Like, you need to find another hobby or something, So for me, that's where it was just a perfect mix. And
and Scott, you're
what do we got?
I'm really excited about this, which we haven't mentioned yet. But you got that question answered. But also in May,
great question.
Scott and My Bourbon Journey, which is Scott, is doing the featured pairing for all of Cigar Club for the month of May, with our featured cigar, which will be released in May. We're handing it off to the seasoned veteran to come up with some great pairings, maybe multiple pairings, maybe some off the wall stuff. Yeah. But big salute to you, Scott. In addition to Bob's question, I want to know, like, when you do pairings,
Thanks,
we answered that question, but when you do pairings, what are you looking for?
Oh man, I guess for me, the balance is kind of the critical part for me, where I can enjoy both without having to think about one more than the other. And for me, I think that's when it becomes kind of like, I hate to say like perfect pairing, but that's when you can sit back and you pick up all the nuances of the cigar, and you still pick up all of what it is you're looking for in the bourbon. That right there is what I think of as the perfect pairing, whatever that may be to everybody else. I mean, it'll vary for everyone, subjective. But it's very subjective. But for me, when I can have two quality, things working together, and I'm not having to think about one, or like, man, I don't like this, or I don't like that. That for me is what I really, really appreciate. Yeah. And here's one thing I'll say, and Joseph Brazo kind of got me onto this a little bit, was the Russell's Reserve single barrel seems to really pair well with an awful lot of things. And I hadn't really done that kind of pairing before, but when you take the time and you sit back with that, holy cow. I mean, they really, that bourbon, I don't know what it is about it, that wild turkey part of it. And it's just, it really does well. But the flip side of that is when you start getting into more of the finished bourbons, for a cigar like this, I can see I love this and that Bardstown, that fusion. I just love the balance. Now there's some complex blends in that Bardstown. Again, those are some little more aged bourbons in there. So you got a little bit more of the oaky characteristics, some of the sweetness, but it pairs like extremely well with this Rodriguez. So.
Ooh,
I haven't tried it yet, but I imagine the port finished Angel's Envy would probably be really good with the Familia as well.
Oh,
Bring out more of those
that
fruity
would be
notes.
good.
Another kind of like you were saying, Scott, a finished bourbon for it.
Yeah, those finished. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I feel like my almost go-tos for really any medium-bodied cigar tend to be like Taylor Small Batch, which some people think is overrated. I absolutely love Taylor Small Batch, Rare Breed, and maybe even like Four Roses Single Barrel. Like those three bottles, for me, always tend to go really, really well with any medium, full, bodied cigar. I really like those three.
1792 bottled in bond. I freaking love that bourbon.
Well, okay, so and here's the thing. So like that's a good point. So like when you're pairing these things, the mash bill of a bourbon can really play a huge factor, whether it's a high rye, low rye, rye whiskey, high rye. I mean, these are the things you kind of have to take into consideration is how these are going to really play off of each other. And that's a really fun part of being able to do it. So I look forward to kind of sitting down with, I'll have to put in some serious time. I'll have to tell the wife, like, don't bother me here. I got to get this job done. I got to get this job done. So
Scott, you only get one first try. If you fail, I mean,
I'll tell you this:
over.
I will not fail you. I can tell you that I will not fail.
I already
you.
know that.
So
we wouldn't have asked if we thought you failed.
I will do my best. So
exciting.
I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, so to kind of have, I mean, I hate to say like pressure, but to try to find something that's going to really work well with that cigar, and to try to blend or to try to pair that with a whiskey. Now, here's one thing I will say with trying to do that pairing, to find something that the vast majority of people can find will be important to me, because I mean,
yes,
I can't say to you, oh yeah, well, grab this great cigar, and then, oh yeah, here's the best pairing. Grab a Bardstown. Like, it's just that's not going to be great. So trying to find something that's going to be again, whether it's a Wild Turkey 101, doesn't even have to be an expensive bourbon. Like, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be. No, it doesn't have to be an expensive cigar. It doesn't have to be an expensive, whiskey. So that's the thing that you really have to kind of take into consideration is what it is you're really trying to put together. So
we did something similar with the featured pairing several months ago with Alec and Bradley Blind Faith.
Yep.
We had 3 bottles, kind of an easy to find, maybe hard to find, and then very, very hard to find.
Yeah.
Four Roses Single Barrel. I think it was Taylor Small Batch or Barrel or Single Barrel. And then Magnus Cigar Blend.
Small Batch.
All 3 went very, very well with Blind Faith, but that was a really kind of a fun pairing to pick 3 bottles that were easier to find and harder to find.
Well, and here's another one, not to do like a spoiler alert or anything, but one thing that I've really enjoyed pairing a lot of cigars with is, if we're going to stick with Four Roses, is that Four Roses Small Batch Select. Now that it's become a much more popular or distributed bourbon and people can find it, 100, I think it's 104 proof, non-chill filtered, blends of great matte or some different different recipes and all of that you can really pull out some of the nuances of that bourbon with a really nice cigar. So
yeah, and one of the things we're doing with the suggested pairings is not being specific. So I have, for this Classico, we put a wheated bourbon because we don't want it to be something that you're not necessarily going to find a 107 sitting on a shelf, but there's plenty of other wheated bourbons out there.
Fiddler Pugh.
Don't get me started on the Fiddler. Don't get me started.
You changed my life when he introduced me to that bourbon.
That is
AWS Fiddler.
It's a really good one. And with that being said, if you can find the Fiddler, like the single barrel cast strength of that, That's a really good. It's done really well in blinds where people have no idea what in the hell it is, and it does.
I don't believe you, Scott.
Super chocolatey.
You're gonna have to send samples. I don't believe them. Send samples, or I don't believe you.
I could do that. That's a little bit of like, if you don't take a picture, it never happened, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Scott, I remember when we first we had like I don't remember how exactly we got in touch, but we had a phone call, and then like 2 days later I had like 90 samples show up at my front door, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy?
Well,
and it was my first time ever getting bourbon samples.
I remember you
like,
telling me about that.
Freaking vials with the duct tape, and I'm like, this is awesome. I brought it to my brother-in-law's, and we were freaking out the whole night tasting everything.
Well, I was trying to figure out when I sent that stuff to Dave, I'm like, hey, I'll send you some things you paired or whatever. Then I was interested. I'm like, hey, let's talk about it. And Dave was like, I already plowed through all these things. I already drank them all. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, that didn't take, like, I wasn't expecting you to plow through them that quickly. But no, that's the best part. Hey, let me ask you this before I forget. What are your thoughts behind like a Candela wrapper? Like, how do you, like, you don't see it a lot. Like, what are your thoughts on some of that?
It's a really interesting question.
I'm like hit or miss with that.
Yeah,
it's a polarizing question.
The Illusione Candela, I forget the exact line, is one of the only ones I've had that I've kind of enjoyed.
Yeah.
But I don't have much experience. I haven't smoked many, to be honest with you, because they kind of just aren't in my wheelhouse. But I don't know. Pew, you've smoked a few.
I've smoked a few, and I'm right there with you. Like, I haven't found one that I really resonate with. It always leaves this dry sensation on my palate.
Yeah.
And it just, but I know there's people that love smoking Candelas and you know, they look for them, but I haven't found one that resonates with me enough to be able to really smoke it often. And then also find out like what pairs well with it. And maybe that's the missing component for me, is just finding something.
Yeah, could be.
What it always reminded me of was like a young bourbon. It's very like that wrapper is very like almost like young and earthy. Like there's something it's almost like it's just not finished. Like it was like rushed, kind of like a young bourbon kind of, so,
technically it is not technically finished, right, Dave? I mean,
it's not fermented.
They pull them early. Yeah. Like they pull them, if it takes, call it 6 months to go from a green tobacco plant to semi-brown. They pull it just before that, and then they don't really age them very long in the pilones, and they leave it at that green. So it kind of is grassy. Yeah. But I mean, we put the Filthy Hooligan from AB in March because it's like the St. Patty's stick, and it's a barber pole, so it's darker tobacco. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was one when I got it. I haven't smoked it yet, but I was like kind of interested. I'm like, man, I gotta what I want to do is I kind of just take my time with that one and see like what it does, kind of how it evolves or whatever, and see really what that does. Because for me, just the Candela, like on its own, was just never very appealing to me. It just always was like an unfinished cigar, if that makes any sense. So
totally
we should all four smoke different Candelas on one stream and plan that. That would be fun.
I'd love to find one that we like.
Yeah, me too. I would.
That could also be, dude. That could be a great FA4 thing to kind of smoke through. I mean, you smoke through a couple random ones and see what happens, or if there's any that we truly enjoy. I wish you could smoke cigars truly blind, but you're always biased to the color, right? And you can sometimes tell what cigar it is based on the color. So I wish there was a way to truly do it blind and see if I really don't like them, or if it's a bias. Like if it's green, I ain't smoking it.
I'd be curious if Joseph has any go-to Candela cigars in his pipeline.
Yeah, I mean, this is another guy that knows an incredible amount of, whatever.
Joe. So what does Joseph do? He seems like the cigar bourbon guy.
Yeah, he is that. I mean, I think in his real life, I believe him and his wife own an orthodontist business. I think
people smoking. Keep bringing them in.
I mean, that's not necessarily a but
yeah. It's like you'd expect them to own like a candy factory or something like that.
Yeah. If I was pointed in like the right direction for Candelas, I would for sure explore them. It's just something like we don't really ever discuss for whatever reason. Like this month, we're in the first time, I think, in history, we're including a Figurado by Principal, which is the first size we've ever included.
First time you've ever
which
done
is
it.
exciting. So, I mean, we'd be all for including a Candela.
Yeah, it's
like
like
a true
I don't
Candela.
know. Everybody has biases, and that's I think why it's so awesome to have a panel and a team that picks a lot of these cigars, because we've talked about this before. For a long time, I was on this Nicaraguan cigar kick, and then maybe I don't know, I'm not exaggerating at all. 5 months, maybe 1 or 2 non-Nicaraguan cigars ended up in a box, and one day Griff called me and he's like, "All right, we've all been. It's time to move on. There's other people in other countries that make cigars that are great. Let's get a little mix going on." And then I was like, okay, you know, when you're in Nicaragua, oh, Dominican cigars, yeah, shit. And then when you're in the Dominican, it's like, oh yeah, Nicaraguan cigars, yeah, fuck them. And it's just like this thing. So when you're working with a lot of brands in one area, you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna keep working with Nicaraguan tobacco.
Yeah.
But now I think we've gotten to the point where there's a great representation of Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, Honduras. With LH Cigars, we brought a lot of stuff in from Costa Rica. I'd love to bring, we used to carry them a lot, but M. Bombay cigars out of Costa Rica as well. I'd love to bring back in the boxes. We're working on a customs in Costa Rica, like stuff in Miami. There's
Jeremy Jack's
so
got
many
a
great
new Costa
people.
Rican.
Jeremy Jack's got new Costa stuff. It's like, there's just great tobacco in a lot of places now.
Yeah.
I mean, and arguably, this is a hot topic, but arguably, there's probably at least 3 countries making and growing and farming better tobacco than Cuba. And who would have thought that's a statement you could have made 30 years ago? No shot. Now it's like, are you like, no way. Like Cuban tobacco is essentially all Candela. They're barely aging it. It's not seen through processed correctly. It's not. They don't have the quality control Nicaragua and the DR has with all the protocols in place. So I don't know. It's great to have this group of us that get together and we fill the spreadsheet out and we smoke cigars and we talk about them, and new cigars show up every single month into our warehouse.
Yeah. Well, you know, here's the thing with like, you know, cigars from the DR was, you know, for the longest time, it was everybody thought of like them just being a very like mild, not a lot of flavor or whatever, but that's kind of changed quite a bit. I mean, I think they've really stepped up a lot of what it is that they're producing. And I mean, the Dominican, I mean, Nicaragua for me, I mean, it kind of seems to do it the best. I mean, in terms of what from a kind of a full flavored cigar, in terms of what I think a lot of people really enjoy, they seem to do it best. But for the longest time, like, you know, cigars from the Dominican just kind of always fell a little flat. It was kind of like the morning, like a morning cigar type of deal is what you thought of, like a cigar from the DR was like a coffee cigar or something like that. But
well, also you're now Scott, you know, an Aganorsa whore, like the 3 less, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we just
screws you up.
Just kind of migrate there. But like Pugh's smoking the Principal Lancero from the DR, and it's amazing. I think
it is.
So
that's probably one of my new favorite Lanceros.
Right. I mean, Dave was and still is the kind of the master curator of cigarclub.com. And to his point earlier, he was so single laned, if you will, of Nicaraguan tobacco. I was handling customer service and people are like, badass selections that you're sending, but you know, other countries produce tobacco. And I'm like, dude, come on, we got to open the door here. And prime example of what Pugh's smoking, like that classic Lancero is very, very good.
Well, here's another thing, like talk about Lanceros, like, you know,
or the Taino heritage.
Yeah. I mean, people think of like a Lancero, you know, the perception was like the smaller, the smaller the ring gauge, like it wasn't going to be very like full flavored, full body or whatever. I mean, literally it's like the opposite, you know, like, I mean, a good Lancero. Yeah. You couldn't be any further from the truth. I mean, a Lancero can like knock you on your ass in a heartbeat, you know?
And it's so funny because all these brands, this is like the common theme. You talk to any brand owner and you mention Lancero, it's the biggest love-hate relationship because they love Lanceros. And everybody always talks about, oh, Lancero. Then they make a Lancero, nobody buys it. Like cigar companies can't move Lanceros very well. And it's because people associate value with ring gauge, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I don't know who started that trend of like bigger is better and bigger is more value because there's more tobacco. It's like, the wrapper is the most expensive tobacco on a cigar, period, by at least double. So what is gonna highlight the wrapper more? Less filler tobacco, less binder tobacco. Not that filler and binder don't play massive roles in the profile of a cigar, but Lanceros are a work of art, not to mention how hard they are to make. And then I grabbed this out because I love this story of this cigar with Sereno. They have a cigar called Taino, and we released an exclusive with them, 44 in February. But the Taino is made in Nicaragua, where all of Carson's other stuff is made at La Corona. And Howie, but the Taino people are Dominican people. And so he wanted to release a new line of Taino made in the Dominican, which is his version of the original release, but the Dominican expression. And you want to talk about a cool smoking experience? Smoke the original Nicaraguan Taino, wait a couple days, smoke the Dominican one, and see how completely different Dominican tobacco is from Nicaraguan tobacco. You're like, okay, I get the profiles are similar, but it's a little saltier. It's got a little more of a smoky thing. It's got more pepper in the front. Transitions are totally different. And that to me is, I wish almost every company was like, okay, we're releasing the same brand from two different countries, so you can just see that like tobacco is crazy different. You wouldn't even know they're the same brand, but anyway, this is shipping in boxes this month because we wanted to get it in as quickly as possible after the original Taino, so people could see. But just a really cool story.
Well, and I think a lot of it comes down to perception, is that, you know, people think when you're holding like a big cigar, it's much more manly and this and that. But I think for the other, for the person who understands what it is that you're smoking, and you see somebody with a Lancero, you now that you know a little bit more, you start to know that, well, that guy knows exactly kind of what it is he's either doing or knows what he really enjoys. And, you know, so that I think that can be the perception sometimes. I mean, same thing like where you like smoke a Churchill, like all of a sudden you become like a manly man. And it's just like, you can have less flavor. You have way less flavor. Yeah. I mean, sometimes a Churchill can taste like nothing. You know,
I mean, me and Griff's number one cigar of the year, our agreed upon cigar of the year, was 4.5 by 42. Griff, bits. Tiny ass cigar. Yeah, jam packed with flavor. Steve. Steve Dameron.
Man, I'll tell you, I think
an
we're
FA4 legend.
Good dude, and I think we're all in that kind of same boat. You just kind of, it's really easy to get fixated on these hobbies that we have, and to really enjoy these things and to want to just own everything. It's impossible, but we're going to give it one hell of a try. I'll tell you that. All right. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this since we're already an hour and a half in, which went really quickly, by the way. Why don't we do some of the giveaways tonight? Adriana, if you're in here still, let me know how many people are in here, and we'll run some, we'll ask the old Google, and we'll see who the winners are tonight.
Can you access Google on that Android, Scott, or do you need a PC for that?
No kidding.
Don't let them throw you down like that. Android for life.
We're about ready.
Scott's text come in as green, and I just hate it.
God, and I get it on my computer, but I can't respond on my computer because my message. I got to bring out my freaking phone.
Scott's
brutal. Same with Pugh. Pew goes, guys, look at what I'm smoking tonight. We can't see it, Pew. It's the size of my pinky.
Right hand of the screen is iPhone. Left hand of the screen is like 2000.
It's quite sad. I'll send a photo and they'll never say anything. And I'm like, you guys,
we won't get it.
Like, we didn't get it. I was like, oh, cool.
No. That does make me feel better that you guys aren't actually ignoring me. You just haven't seen anything I've sent you.
I swear sometimes I'll randomly get Scott. 3 texts in a row from somebody with a green phone.
And it was from Pew's cigar like 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Hey, Canadian currency still counts.
Cuban Corona 6x46 is the best size.
Yeah, it's a great size. Yeah. You know, and that's just one of those things that, I mean, I know it becomes like a preference thing for everybody, and whatever, it is what it is. But when you find the cigar that you like, that has the flavor you like, I mean, perfect, whatever that may be. So, all right, so we got 26 people. All right, so
am I included in 2 of those, or
no? You're not included. You're not included. It's going to be 26, but if anything comes back on Griff Howie, he's a loser. So
that's right.
Meaning you don't win tonight. Meaning you don't win tonight. That's what I mean by that.
In long, we got to add him in. We just no, sorry, wrong. No, nothing.
Right, I thought it popped up. Let's do this. That was kind of a premature ask as far as like getting this stuff going. If anybody wants, we'll give it another couple minutes. If anybody wants in on tonight's giveaways,
Griff excluded. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
enough.
Griff is excluded. Griff excluded.
I like Eric's comment too. I love a Robusto. 5x50 is kind of the perfect size, and it just gets crapped on. Everyone's like, "Oh, you said what Pugh smoking?"
Really
you sent me a Robusto. It's like, dude, it's like
underrated
one of the
size.
greatest sizes of all time.
To me, it's the classic size. It's at
yeah,
least-
like when you're blending in a factory, you're blending in a Robusto. You're not blending in a damn Toro or a Churchill. Yeah.
David.
I don't think I think the last Churchill was probably like August of last year. It's been
Connecticut Churchill is the only Churchill I smoke. It's amazing.
me too, and that was the last one.
Yep,
that was the last one.
It's kind it's so much of this stuff just comes down to, I think, the perception to get away from people that you just don't always have to smoke a big cigar. That's not what it's all about at all. So I know every time you go to a cigar lounge, everyone seems like they've always got the biggest cigar you can possibly find. It's like
Asylum.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, and I love
vintage.
brands. There's a lot of brands that only release one, maybe two sizes in a cigar because in each brand, because they're like, these are the best ways to enjoy this. Warp does that a lot. HPC does that. With customs, we're only releasing one size. And a lot of that has to do with production. But two is like, it just works in this size. Why do we need to have 8 sizes for every brand?
Yeah.
For you to think
But I
it's
also
there's
think-
value.
I mean, I am a diehard Robusto and Corona Gorda fan, but it also depends to me, like, what am I doing, right? Am I sitting on the front porch
Beesons.
watching a Netflix documentary that I'll have, 2 or 3 hours, and I'll go for like a Toro. But if I'm in a little bit of a rush or just, want a great smoke, then I'll probably go the smaller size. But I mean, Toros to me are still really, really great.
Yep. Nope. I hear you. All right. We'll give it a couple more minutes and see if anybody wants to win something, and we'll give it. Here's another one. I hate to say that this is like for me. For me, I always get like people always say, "Oh, it's just." You're not a fan?
No. Well,
Wait, what is it?
where I
What are
stand
we
on
looking
this.
at?
McKenna.
Oh, here we
I mean,
go.
I
Don't
think-
get
I
him,
think for-
Scott.
okay, so
don't get him started. Dear God.
Before everything kind of exploded with the McKenna. I mean, think about this: a 10-year, I mean, you're already it used to be $40, now maybe if you find it might be 50 or 60, but still people are like, I don't want to pay $60. Really, you don't want to pay $60 for a 10-year, single barrel, bourbon. I mean, it's an incredible bourbon for what it is. So anyway,
It is,
all right.
it is
So that was-
good. I don't not hate it. I just think it might be a little bit overrated. I mean, I can get it for $45, and I have a bottle, and I enjoy it, but there's just a lot of hype around McKenna.
To
It's
me,
good.
that
It's
was
good.
That was the
Pugh.
first bourbon I ever did like an actual review on, wrote notes down and into the whole 9 yards. And to me, and this was before they won Whiskey of the Year.
Yep.
Or, 2017, maybe right before it blew up. To me, at $35, which I think it was at the time, like that is the quintessential bourbon I would give to someone if they've
You
never
got
had
it.
bourbon before.
You got it.
It's the classic flavor
100%.
profile.
If this was readily available now, this would be one of those whiskeys I would tell everybody to buy. I think it offers from a complexity side of things, from an oak, from a sweetness,
It's got
the
it all.
mouth, everything. It's almost, I hate to say a perfect bourbon, but for me, it's so good. And like Hendo says, $60. I mean, people pay $40 for these freaking Eagle Rares and all this stuff or more. I'm like, there is no way I would take Eagle Rare over McKenna. No goddamn way.
No.
I would agree.
So
If Griff was here, no, he is here. I don't like Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I've tried it. I've bought a bottle or two. I finish them and I'm just left. I usually just end up mixing with it. I think it makes a great cocktail. But
it's
for,
great
if I'm drinking
old-fashioned.
something neat, yeah. And I
agree.
can
I
still
agree with
find McKenna for 40. And when I do,
yeah.
cart. It's
But,
just-
yeah, you buy as many. I mean, I wouldn't even have a problem honestly paying $60 for that bourbon. Like I still think it's worth $60 for me. I mean, I think it's a great one. So all right, what's
Eagle Rare's, I I like pairing it with cigars, but I also like it in cocktails. But yeah, it's lost its zest to me recently.
It has the last couple Eagle Rares I've purchased. I haven't really, unfortunately, loved.
It's good, but I lump it in honestly with Buffalo Trace. It's kind of the same type of profile for the most part.
But that's how I also feel about blends. Like we did I'll take a lot of Buffalo. I'm not lying. I'll take a lot of the Buffalo Trace store picks I have over blends. Over the
or Eagle Rare
that I have. I know they're single barrel, so they're different all the time.
Yeah.
I legitimately think I have 2 Buffalo Trace picks better than the Blantons that I have on the shelf.
Yeah. Dave got me a Railbird Buffalo Trace that absolutely annihilates.
No, it's not even the same. It's not even the same.
It's not.
Buffalo or Blantons. It's not even the same.
Yeah. But I would put Buffalo Trace store picks over Eagle Rare for sure.
Well, here's what I'll say about blends. It would be a really good everyday sipping kind of bourbon, period. Just, I mean, whatever that may be, but it's a fancy ass bottle. It gets a lot of hype, and it's not that great of a bourbon to get that kind of hype. That's how I kind of try to
it's good.
Say that.
It's really good marketing and like forced allocation to bring up hype. But it's still a bottle that as soon as I finish one, if I find one at $68, I buy it just to keep in my bar. But I think there's plenty of other
the problem. Blantons, it's like you always want it on your bar because it's Blantons, but I buy them now. We buy them whenever we go out of country, and it's because duty free always has Blantons in Miami. So wherever going out of country, it's like, all right, get the classic blend, $60, no tax, and I put it on the shelf and I give it away or sell it to somebody. Like,
well, and everybody kind of feeds into it a little bit. So like what you guys are saying, like, you know, it's like, hey, when I go somewhere else, I got to pick up a blends. I mean, they've got all of us like hook, line, and sinker.
We're a bunch of punks to them. I totally agree.
Buffalo Trace horrors to Aganorsa horrors, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll take Aganorsa over blends. I'll tell you that. So
my first bourbon was E.H. Taylor single barrel, or not single barrel, small batch. That was like the bourbon I picked up, I think 2015, 2016, right around the time I started smoking cigars. And that's to circle back to the earlier before I lost internet. That was the start of my bourbon journey.
Welcome back.
And that's the bourbon I had that I was like, wow, this is really cool. You know, before it was just mixing with sodas in college. And that's what started for me.
Well, and now you have a really difficult time finding it. It's like nowhere anymore. And that's kind of typical of Buffalo Trace. Like there's stuff, if you don't live in Texas, you just don't get Buffalo Trace stuff. It seems like, you know, so anyway. All right. So Adriana, how many people do we have? I guess we'll do it. Well, we got to get rid of Griff stuff. He doesn't really count. So we got to make it fair to the other people. So,
So there's probably like 3 people that are in the running now, cause I donated so much.
It was, I think after all the calculations, let me do that real quick. I owe Griff 16
I'm overdrafting my checking account.
I owe Griff 16 cents. Griff's making money.
I
do.
Just got first ever Taylor single barrel. Pretty freaking yummy. Adriana, I don't know if you have a small batch, but I'd be curious if you think small batch is better than single barrel. That's always like something I'm always so curious about.
I think you picked small batch that night at your house, Griff, and I picked single barrel, but not like barrel. I wouldn't say like
long shot now.
Night and day single barrel. It was just like I think I like this one a little more, but they're very close.
They're very similar. Like blind, you may have a very difficult time picking. I mean, to be honest, I mean it is very.
I wouldn't spend more than like a $20 discrepancy between the two.
No.
Like if you got 2 there and single barrel for 200 or EHT for 50, get 4 EHT.
Way. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Small batch to me is just so good.
All right, bring it home.
It's very good. So here's what we'll do. So since there's 3 of you guys and there's 3 gifts, cool. I'll ask each one of you between 1 and 28. I think she said, 28. Give me a number. Dave, let's start with you.
9.
Adriana, who is number 9? We'll get that. And who and before we do, what is this designation? Which of the packs are we giving away right now?
Let's do we'll start with the Rodriguez Cigar Club exclusive Familia 5-pack.
Oh, fantastic.
What Scott and I were smoking.
Yep.
Yeah, fantastic cigar. You guys nailed it with that.
I really think, I'm not even just saying this, I think it's our number one. Like everybody has enjoyed this. It's probably the best exclusive we've.
No, I'll go on record. It is the best exclusive we released.
It's so good, but I can't wait for the Aganorsa.
Did Steve win?
No,
Hell yeah, and he just bought a 5-pack today, I think.
He won?
I think
so.
All right, all right, hang on. What did I miss
Why don't
something?
I see that?
Whiskey
I don't
Mountain
see it either.
said, at Steve Dameron, congrats.
Oh,
I don't know if she was I don't know if she was congratulating his super chat or if he actually won.
All right, maybe Steve was number 9. So okay, yeah. So Steve. All right, there you go.
With
For
Rodriguez.
all your super chats tonight, you got a nice 5-pack of the Familia. So that's a fantastic pack
Steve.
right there.
Awesome.
Well, Steve, now you ordered it today, but we already shipped it out. So now we got to buy you another box, pay another shipping fee on that shit. Come on, Steve.
The whole 9
Jeez.
yards.
I mean, you're just wasting CigarClub.com's money at this point.
No,
Come on.
Steve
No,
is
nobody
a
better to get it than Steve
Steve's a
Dameron.
die-hard Cigar Club
Congrats,
fan.
Steve. All right, Pugh, you're up next. Give us a number between 1 and 28, not number 9.
My favorite number, it's going to be 18.
18. Adriana, who do we have as number 18? I wish I had a drum roll. I could do like the I could do like the oh geez, what the hell's what's the Christmas movie where
Christmas
they do all the
Vacation?
drum roll?
Yeah.
Yeah. Christmas. Yeah. The old lady like,
God,
What are they
it's a
winning?
favorite movie.
What are they winning?
Hendo, look at this. Look at this. This is all,
Dang.
I mean, honestly, we're
Random.
we're
That's the random fiver.
so far. We're okay. So Hendo wins. This is the random 5er.
That's awesome.
That's Griff
awesome.
going into the humidor at the warehouse with his eyes closed.
Oh,
grabbing
that's
5
a good
sticks.
one. That's what I was trying to ask you about before. That's what Griff was doing. The random stuff or whatever it was he was responsible for.
Yeah.
Man,
He does
there's a lot
one
of
for you,
Dude,
one
that's
for him, one for
That's
you,
2
one for him.
FA4 guys.
That's,
Nice.
I was just gonna say that's 2 FA4 guys. All right, Adriano. And Griff.
I don't. Whatever the hell you want to give away here, Chief.
Griff,
I'll do another Griff selection. My lucky number is 12.
12. All right, number 12, Adriana. Who do we have? We'll wrap her up. And I think is everyone gonna just email Griff at cigarclub.com?
Just email Pugh, Pugh at cigarclub.com.
Pew.
Whoops, other way. This guy right here. Pugh at cigarclub.com.
All right, let's see. Will we go 3 for 3 tonight, boys? Let's
I'll
see.
drive to the
3 for 3 on
warehouse
the
and-
FA4s. Come on, I'm pulling for
Maybe.
Lawler and Carter.
Hey, let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about the FA4 and what it's all about and what you guys do with that.
Tell us, Griff.
I was just going to ask. I was going to say, Hendo, what are you wanting to try? FA4, if you don't know, is hashtag FA4 Fridays at 4. Griff and Dave, myself and Dave have a show every Friday at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock Central. We talk about pairings. We talk about basically what we talked about here, but on a weekly basis. Sometimes tangents of how do you say pecan or pecan. And we talk about drive-through lanes at McDonald's. We talk about everything, but it's a fun time. And we'd love to have you Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern.
It's like the uncut, unfiltered week in review at Cigar Club.
Yes.
It's the way to
On
light
the
show after a week of work.
flip side, we have a more prim and proper
Yes.
Cigar Club podcast where it's Dave and Dave or David and Dave, 2 palettes where you can hear on Spotify, Apple Music, the whole 9 yards. The Griff and Dave show is a little bit more immature and fun. Shocker.
And so I mean, so far the podcasts that you guys have done great. You've had some great guests and all that. So I mean, it's another really fun listen if you guys haven't checked it out. Spotify, Apple,
Eric's-
probably, I don't know, all that other shit.
Yeah,
I
Eric
don't know how to say Eric's last name, but
Profio.
one-
Congratulations,
Profio.
man. Make sure you
Nice.
email us or Pew at cigarclub.com and Griff's going to go in there and pick a good doozy for you.
That's a good one. The old mystery pack is always a fun one to get too. So
yeah, and for Hendo and Eric, if you would just put in the email to Pew like what you guys prefer, if you prefer more full bodied or mild to medium, I'll pick something in that range for you.
I think Hendo's kind of an acid guy. So if you can dig up a few of those,
We
send
can-
them his way.
Yeah, I mean,
Griff's got a couple Cuba Cubas laying around at the
I'll
house.
send him some acid if he wants some acid.
I don't think so. I think Hendo sent me something once. He was really enjoying a lot of the HVC stuff too. So
Oh yeah, that's
Scott,
what
I don't
anyway.
know if have you had the 500th anniversary from HVC?
No, I have not had that.
It's officially he's announcing it at TPE, which is the trade show in Vegas that we'll be at this next month. But it's going to be a full production cigar now, so it'll be easier for all of us to be able to get our hands on it. And we'll be putting it back in boxes. He's got this. It's a 6x52, I believe. Tesoro, it's called, the size. It is an elegant cigar. It's so classic Aganorsa. It's not even funny. I love it.
Was that something that they were only releasing like once a year? What was the deal with that?
He did it like one time. He did the original size, and then he did one more release with a new size, like a Corona Gorda.
Okay.
But now he's going to release both sizes full steam ahead. So that's going to be super exciting. We got to have Lorenzo on a podcast coming up, but
he's a great guy.
He's a great guy. Anytime we're in Miami, he hosts us and brings us around to all of his spots where he's the damn president everywhere we go. You walk into a cigar shop with Lorenzo, red carpet rolls out and
coffee's flowing.
Coffee's flowing. It's done. You walk into Aganorsa with him, same deal. And he's just an incredible guy, passionate about what he does, and amazing cigars.
Yeah. Speaking of Canada, do you guys send stuff to Canada?
I wish we did. We've had more problems than I could count. Right, Griff, with shipping to Canada.
That's kind of what I thought.
Customs and duties, like your $40 box of cigars will end up costing you about $220, $250.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I heard about, like, with stuff going to Canada. I know Alex was like wanting. Man, I wish I knew somebody that could like mule stuff there or whatever the hell it was. But you
can't even like plain box it. They'll open that shit and bring it to your door and charge you $180.
That's the problem. That's what I was going to say to Alex, because I know with like the bourbon side of things too, I know he wants to get in on some of those things. And it's just, man, it's like getting stuff to Canada, and like they want to open up everything. Like you'll just be screwed. And you don't want to send a bunch of good stuff to these guys and them never get it or whatever. So I don't know.
We actually found out it really boils down to the specific customs agent, which is kind of a scary thing.
Yeah.
But like, it depends if Scott's opening your box or if Tim's opening your box. Scott wants $100 and Scott wants, a Jolly Rancher.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
So the email address is Pugh, P-U-G-H @cigarclub.com. There it is.
Yeah. So send your stuff there to all the winners. Congrats on that. And I guess before we wrap it up, you guys want to tell everybody a little bit more about where they can find you, things you got going on, and we'll call it a night.
Dave?
Yeah. Cigarclub.com. Pretty easy. Instagram is cigarclub.com. Hashtag Cigar Club Family. Fridays at 4:00 on YouTube, the Griff and Dave Show. Every single Tuesday morning, the Cigar Club podcast, which features 2 Daves, 2 Pallets, me and Pugh, and our bi-monthly show, and then also interviews with lots of different cigar brands that we're bringing into the fold. Tomorrow we're shooting one with Carson Sereno. Next week we launch one with Patina Cigars, and anyway, just a deep dive into cigars and all of that. So two great places if you want to really geek out with cigars with us, if you want to hang out and have a great time. We've got both of those offerings. And then follow us on Instagram, Facebook, our Facebook group, Cigar Club Family. Join that and get all the banter you could ever imagine in that Facebook group. And we love to chat with everybody, see what you're smoking. We share what we're kind of smoking at the offices, what we're up to, where we're going. So we try and be as reachable as possible. But you've got Pugh's email now, my email now with Jeff, Griff at cigarclub.com. If you guys ever have any questions or need anything, you know where to find us. And Scott, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Supporting our company.
I appreciate everything that you guys do and everything involved with cigarclub.com. I mean, it's fantastic. You guys have been great to me, and I appreciate the banter, the relationship, all of that stuff. I mean, outside of the cigars, I mean, you guys are all great guys, and that's what resonates with me. So,
Scott, the $300 you sent to us, was overly gracious.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you.
Scott, you have the best bourbon channel on YouTube.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah,
where's that?
That $300 was supposed to be $3 back to Griff, but I made a mistake with the decimal point, so I apologize for that.
Right.
So I'm gonna somehow need that refund here pretty soon, so I can.
Charge back.
Yes, I want to see all you people on FA4 this week, and we're doing a couple big giveaways. And I totally forgot. This week we're announcing the winner of our biggest giveaway ever, which is the person who won cigars for an entire year.
Oh yeah.
Once we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which we hit a couple weeks ago, so we're gonna be giving away cigars for a year. Giving away. I mean, I don't know. We're giving a lot of stuff away. We're hanging out. So come join us and have a good time. Eric, you son of a bitch.
He always asks this, though. This is
all right. Good seeing you guys.
Okay, Scott. Thanks again, buddy. Okay, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
We Customs Macaso, the air freight from Aganorsa's Nicaragua factory lands to Aganorsa, Miami on Thursday, and then they have to wrap them in the 5-packs and ship them to us. So we're hoping to be able to ship them out Monday, Tuesday of next week, that you guys will be able to get your hands on those beauties. 5 1/4 by 52, close foot, 109 cap, all Aganorsa tobacco, cinnamon,
Bustos,
bread,
nutmeg. This is all a part of the customs experience. You got to deal with customs in Nicaragua. It's just a part of it.
Actually,
customs in Nicaragua held all of our bands and the wrapping paper and will not release them to us. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of
they'll do with it. But
speaking of closed foot, I wish every cigar could be that, by the way. But anyway,
closed foot and pigtail.
All right, Pugh, Griff, where can everybody find you guys? Anything you want to share at all?
No, nothing. I had a great time. Scott, appreciate you having us. And this was a really fun time.
Yep. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Dave kind of took it all, did a great job. Podcast is what I was going to say. Dave knocked out of the park. We also have it on YouTube as well. We'll do the videos that we shoot up with that for the podcast, as well as Spotify, Apple Music, and I think Google Music.
And Google Podcasts as of last week.
Oh, God.
Yep. So you can find us all there. Scott, once again, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Well. It's been a joy to be here.
Appreciate it. I'll have all of the links in the description of this show. So if you guys want to check out and check all that stuff out, I'll have all of the discount codes, things along those lines. So next week I have absolutely no idea what the hell I've got going on. I'll figure that out probably over the weekend, but it'll be something.
Do it again.
Yeah, hopefully fun. And anytime you guys want to come on and do something, I'm totally down for it. I think people appreciate all these things, and it's good exposure. I think people, really appreciate this stuff. I always get good feedback and ask about more cigar content. And, sometimes it's tough with like YouTube. They just I could put out a stripper video and they'll be okay with that, but I can't have a cigar. It's like, I don't understand YouTube at times. So anyway, but guys, thank you so much. Adriana, thank you so much for doing this stuff.
Thank you, Adriana.
Greatly appreciate it. And so we'll see everybody next Tuesday, cigarclub.com. Check it out. I'll have all the links in the description of the video. And until next time, we'll see everybody next Tuesday. Cheers, boys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Scott.